This is Water Elemental.
And this is Axis, and we're here to talk about the League of Legends.
Sort of.
Sort of. Well, we're here to completely talk about the League of Legends. There will be no rabbit trails. There'll be no... oh, look at that ambulance. Oh.
Double car pileup over there.
Wow. Oh. That is definitely a time killer. Whew.
Yeah, if you're heading down the intersection of I-20...
Shut up. We're distracted. We need to talk about... what is it we talk about? League of Legends. Okay. We're going to talk about a couple of things this week. We're going to be talking about Lux and all of her Hyper Beam abilities. We're going to be talking about the champion rotation this week. And of course, the news. Lots of news this week. So let's dive right into it. Lux, the Lady of Luminosity. Let me tell you, I've played with her a little bit over the past day or so. I know Water has actually got her and been playing with her.
I got her skin.
Yeah,
I have to make her look like a Sailor Moon as much as I can.
There you go. I have to say I'm quite disappointed in her damage values. Compared to Morgana, she's just really, really bad from what I've seen so far. Don't have first-hand experience with her yet, but so far from what I've seen, even with a hefty, I saw a stacked Lux, full Soul Stealer stack, and her ult was doing maybe 300 damage to his some of the characters. They were tanky DPS, granted, but it was still, her is just not very good damage. It's just what I've seen. I don't know. What do you think? Am I seeing everything all wrong here?
You're right about the damage input. She doesn't really have much damaging ability. She's support, more or less. She has a stun. She has the slow AoE, which deals not that much damage. And you have her MR buff. That's main abilities, and she only has one ability that really can deal damage, and it's a timing AoE. So her damage output's not that good, but once she gets her ult, it bumps up a little bit, but the cooldown kind of kills her on it. So she's pretty much a stun target. You just let her stun people and then have everybody else do it for her. She can't really put out enough damage to go one-on-one.
Well, see, that's the thing. Morgana has pretty much all the tools she has, with a little bit less AoE on some of them. And just, she has exponentially more damage. So, I don't know. I don't see how Lux is going to be very successful in terms of, longer games as long as a Morgana character exists. But that's just me. I mean, she's a couple of differences. She can deal the auto attack damage, but she doesn't have as much staying power because of her passive. She can shield all types of damage instead of just magic, but they won't block debuffs. It's just not very cool.
Even after the redesign, it kind of...
yeah, she feels like a carbon copy that's not as good. That's just me, though. If you guys think...
If we're missing something here, let us know.
Taponzors. Please. Because maybe, I don't know. I've seen her built with mostly ability power, with some cooldown reduction, like a basic, caster. I haven't really seen her built anyway else. If there's, a build that you've been using that's been successful, please let us know.
Like the Rainbow Ray of Justice. Like building all AP at level 6 and just...
yeah, I imagine she's a champion that benefits greatly from Spell Pen. But we'll see.
So a lot of people probably don't know this, and I'm seeing if you know. Is her ult global? Or is there a range to it?
There is a range cap on it. It's actually not too far. I think it's like, I want to say 1,500 units. It's about a little bit longer than Miss Fortune's ult. Well, actually, it's probably a lot longer than that. I want to, maybe it's 1,700, 1,800 units.
Because Miss Fortune's ult, I can shoot, I notice I can shoot a little bit farther than that. It's the length of the screen if I'm exactly on the corner.
Yeah.
But I couldn't really tell if I could do an Ezreal and rainbow shot him from across the map.
It's not that far. It's not a global, unfortunately.
So that's to keep in mind. So.
No, it's good range, but damage isn't.
It's instant damage, so it's not like the animation has to touch them. As soon as the animation appears, it hits them.
Yeah. which is good. I mean, I'll give her that, but it's not the best.
No.
It brings me back to the days of being the Dwarven sniper in Dota. Just catching a guy from across the map and just be like, oh, sup? Boom! Just blow him up from across the map is the best. But, you know, that's fun to think about. But we'll move on. We got the free champions this week. We have
Annie, Blitzcrank, Garen, Heimerdinger, Jax, Shen, Sivir, Soroka, Shen, and Teemo. Not Shen. Swain.
Derp, derp.
I read Shen twice. We have Shen, guys. Don't forget. Shen this week.
Don't forget, there's Shen.
Buy now.
All right. So first up, we have Annie. This is a champion we've talked a lot about. I've argued very much for her that she is the best early mid-game mage, and I still stand by that now. Stun is a very powerful tool as long as you have it revved up and ready for those team fights. She's a champion that doesn't benefit too terribly much from ability power, as her ratios aren't fantastic, but they aren't dismal either. So be sure you build for the damage there, and then just try and get that game one early game. And if not, then just be sure to use your stun potential to help your team as much as possible. Blitzcrank, he's one of those, he's a tanky DPS to some degree. He's got a lot of utility in that his power grab and his knockup, which is also a silence, which a lot of people forget. So you can silence characters, especially tanks, in a little quick burst after you pull them in, and that prevents them from, taunting or just powerballing away or dashing away, which really makes his combo of grab, knockup, overdrive, whatever, very, very effective in that it shuts down any possible escape for a little bit longer after that knockup. So Blitzcrank is one that people will underestimate. And finally, he'll just instantly jibulate them, especially with items like Sheen, because he gets a lot of benefit out of ability power. Next we have Garen. Garen, oh boy, he is the ire of the bush. The character has so much early game potential. In terms of damage, he's very, very powerful just because the way armor scales and because of the way his damage is set up. That said, late game, he will not do damage. Period. His ult deals magic damage, which is nice, but at the same time, because of the way it's set up, it's an execute, so you really have to kind of kill steal to get it to work, which is sort of frowned upon. So he's really more built to early game get enough kills that late game he can have, the tanky items, so that way he becomes pretty much indestructible. With his shield, with his judgment, he can pretty much get out of any sticky situation, and he's just very difficult to kill, both because of his passive and his shield. So Garen, he is a good champion to pair with items like Sunfire, Guardian Angel. And just be careful, because he is just a champion that will make you hesitate before stepping into the brush, and then he starts whacking on you.
Heimer, I've seen him, he's getting a little bit better on his damage and stuff. I've been playing some games where he's actually been useful again. Heimer is a support character. He uses turrets. He mainly is kind of used for pushing. He has his stun, or not his stun, but his blinding grenade, which kind of blinds your target for a little while.
It's a stun.
It's a stun now? I thought it was blind.
It depends on how close they are to the center explosion.
Yep. So depending close or far away, it's either a stun or a blind. Still good. Doesn't hit towers anymore. A lot of people still think it does. He also has dummy missiles, which hits targets, favoring minions though, but it's still really good range.
Favor minions. It's just random.
It's random.
Yeah.
And his ult increases the abilities of his turrets, so it increases their attack speed, heals them, and kind of
it gives them a slow.
Which
can either help in team fights or help you get away.
Yeah. There's nothing really much to say about Heimer. He's just kind of a straightforward character that uses turrets, and
no, he's not necessarily straightforward. You can do a lot of crazy stuff if you set those turrets up late. I really, really liked him before, and they just kind of changed him around.
Yeah.
They reduced a lot of his killing power, but they also gave him, slightly more staying power.
Yeah, he I was fighting him in mid with a Mordekaiser, and he was tearing me up like the first 3 levels. But later games, I just destroyed the turrets, and he was kind of helpless. So he kind of has to hide behind those turrets.
Yes, very much so. And finally, well, not finally, but next we have Jax. Jax is a champion that got changed in this recent patch. He moved, he lost some of his AoE potential, but he gained slightly more single target damage, which I think in terms of smaller maps, which Jordy did pretty well on. He was very, very good in Twisted Dreamland, but I think now he's going to be even better where there's smaller engagements. And that said, it could be good on Summoner's Rift as well, just in his ganking ability, just because he can get in, put out more burst damage on that single target. And they reduce the cooldown on his Leap Strike too, so he can get away a little bit easier as long as he has proper minions around. So Jax, he got buffed for single target, but he lost some of his AoE potential, which is a mixed blessing. He'll be able to take out single targets quicker, obviously. But he lost a little bit of his AoE stun potential, and I think ultimately that's going to hurt him a little bit more than it helps him. But since he has an improved escape mechanism, it might be worth the trade-off. We'll have to see, though. It's still very early for him.
Yep. Shen is one of the best tanks so far. I still think he is. He's very fun. We both kind of been playing with him a lot.
I love Shen. It's my favorite tank right now.
All right. He has his Warple Blade, which kind of gives some life stealing to him, and as well as deals some damage over time.
Well, Warple Blade is one of those abilities. It's helpful for both you and your teammate, because any champion on your team that beats on the marked target will get their HP back, and it can be quite game changing early game, because it's 10, 20 HP they're getting back per hit. And granted, it's a slow heal over time, but it's only a couple of seconds. So you throw that on, their cannon minion, and all of a sudden both you and your lane mate, are beating on it, and you can get a lot of health back. Actually, I was surprised how much.
Since he has energy, there's no point in not throwing it down.
Yeah, there's no point in not throwing it. It's just very good.
Next, he has his defensive ability, which shielding himself from some damage. He also has his Shadow Dance, which dashes him across the map and taunting. A lot of people don't know about the taunt because it's not on the tooltip, but when he slides through someone, it does taunt them. So it's good to know that it can hit someone and it can taunt them, which also helps if you're running away and you have a friend running, you can taunt them off.
Yeah, something a lot of people also forget. Your Shadow Dash will give you energy back depending on how many champions you taunt, you hit with that dash. So if you're low on energy, you only have 100 or 115 energy. You dash through, and you hit 2 or 3 guys. All of a sudden, you have half 75% of your energy up, and you can pop feint or Vorpal Blade. So you might have the enemies taunted and getting beat on, but then you have enough energy to feint or stand united.
Yeah. And stand united teleports them to an allied champion, giving them a buff, helping their defensive abilities as well as bringing you into the fight. That's a really nice game changer, especially if there's a gank up top and you're at bottom. You can help out even the fight and defend the people that are already up there.
He's a great champion to use with summoner spells like, Fortify and Teleport, because you can quickly stand united with someone who's getting tower dived, pop Fortify and taunt them, and all of a sudden that 2 or 3 man gank on that low HP character, all of a sudden you got a triple kill with literally no effort. So try that out, see what you think.